Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going exploring something pretty cool. Encoder-only transformer models. You might be thinking, wait, aren't large language models where it's at now?
Oh, yeah.
And you'd be right. LLMs are amazing for creating text and all sorts of things. But these encoder-only models, they're still the workhorses behind a ton of everyday tech, especially when you need to find specific information in a mountain of data.
It's true. They're like those specialized search and rescue teams, incredibly efficient at finding exactly what you need.
Okay, that makes sense. But here's the thing that caught my attention. A lot of applications are still running on older encoder models. Like the original BERT, isn't that kind of like trying to compete in a Formula One race with a car from the 90s?
It's a good analogy. You might technically be in the race,
Yeah.
but you're going to have a hard time keeping up with the modern, streamlined machines.
So, what are some of the biggest roadblocks these older models are hitting?
Well, for starters, they have a really limited reading capacity. Imagine trying to understand a complex research paper, but you can only read a paragraph at a time. That's essentially what these older models are dealing with. Their sequence lengths, the amount of text they can process at once, is capped at 512 tokens, which is quite short by today's standards.
So they're missing out on crucial context. What else is holding them back?
Their design and vocabulary are also a bit dated. It's like trying to use a flip phone in the age of smartphones. It works, but it's just not as efficient or powerful. And this has a real impact on their speed and accuracy, especially as the amount of data we're dealing with keeps growing exponentially.
So, it sounds like we're in desperate need of an upgrade. Enter ModernBERT.
Precisely. ModernBERT is like that brand new, top-of-the-line race car, built from the ground up to tackle these challenges.
Now, I'm intrigued. Let's dive under the hood. What makes ModernBERT so special?
One of the most striking things about ModernBERT is the sheer volume of data it was trained on. A massive 2 trillion tokens. That's like having a library that contains almost every book ever written. And ModernBERT has read it all. This massive data set helps it develop a deeper, more nuanced understanding of language.
Wow. 2 trillion tokens. That's almost mind-boggling. But does it actually solve the short reading capacity issue we talked about?
Absolutely. ModernBERT has a native sequence length of 192 tokens. That's 16 times longer than the older models, meaning it can understand much larger chunks of text in a single go. Think about how much easier it is to understand a story when you can see the whole chapter, rather than just a few sentences at a time.
Right. Context is key. But having access to more information is only part of the story. How does ModernBERT actually process and make sense of all this data?
That's where the architectural innovations come in. ModernBERT uses some clever techniques that weren't available when older models were developed. For example, it uses something called rotary positional embeddings, or ROPE for short. Imagine you're searching for information on a complex topic, like the impact of climate change on coastal ecosystems. With ROPE, ModernBERT can understand how each word in that search query relates to the others, even if they're far apart in the sentence, leading to more accurate search results.
So it's not just about reading more words, but understanding the subtle relationships between them.
Exactly. And there's another trick up its sleeve, a combination of global and local attention. Imagine you're trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle. You need to see both the big picture, the overall image on the box, and the individual pieces. Global attention lets ModernBERT understand the overall theme of a document, while local attention helps it zoom in on specific word relationships.
Interesting. So it's like having both a bird's eye view and a magnifying glass.
That's a great way to put it. These innovations allow ModernBERT to be much more efficient and accurate, especially when dealing with those longer sequences. It's really a game changer for tasks that require a deep understanding of context.
This all sounds incredibly impressive. But before we get too carried away, let's talk about how ModernBERT was trained. You mentioned it was fed a massive amount of data, but what exactly was in its learning menu?
Well, think of it as a very balanced and diverse diet. It wasn't just fed dry technical documents. ModernBERT's training data included a mix of web documents, code, and scientific literature, giving it a wide range of experience with different types of language. It's like it had the chance to learn from different teachers: a novelist for creative writing, a programmer for logic and structure, and a scientist for precision and factual accuracy.
That's such a great way to visualize it. So it's not just a one-trick pony. It can analyze a news article, a piece of software code, and a research paper, all with the same level of expertise.
Exactly. And because its training included a lot of code, ModernBERT is especially good at understanding and working with different programming languages. It's multilingual, but for code instead of spoken languages.
That's so cool. It's like having a universal translator for programmers. But I'm curious, how does ModernBERT's diverse training translate into real-world performance? Did it actually ace its tests?
It did. ModernBERT was put through a battery of evaluations, and the results are really impressive. It's tested on a variety of tasks, from finding specific information in a huge data set to understanding the nuances of human language. And across the board, it outperformed the existing encoder models, sometimes by a significant margin.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more about these tests.
Well, one of the key areas where ModernBERT really shines is in information retrieval. Remember how we talked about those older models struggling with long documents? ModernBERT was tested on the BR benchmark, which is specifically designed to evaluate how well models can find relevant information within large and complex data sets. And it blew the competition out of the water, particularly when dealing with those longer sequences.
So if I'm researching a niche topic with tons of potential sources, ModernBERT is going to be my best bet for finding the most relevant information, quickly and accurately.
Exactly. And it's not just good at finding needles in haystacks of text. It also excelled in code retrieval tasks, which is a testament to how effective its code-focused training was. ModernBERT was tested on benchmarks like CodeSearchNet and Stack Overflow QA, and it consistently outperformed other models in finding the most relevant code snippets for specific programming queries.
That's fantastic for developers who need to quickly find solutions or examples within a massive code base.
It is. And remember the Colbert method we touched upon earlier. ModernBERT significantly outperformed other models in a long context retrieval task. Using this method, sometimes by more than 9 points, it demonstrates its superior understanding of long and complex sequences, surpassing even specialized long context models.
So, it's not just keeping up, it's setting a new standard for long context understanding. But how does it fare on more general language tasks? The kind that don't necessarily involve sifting through massive data sets?
It performs remarkably well there, too. It was tested on the GLUE benchmark, which evaluates a model's ability to understand various aspects of human language, like sentiment analysis, question answering, and paraphrasing. And even the base version of ModernBERT achieved state-of-the-art results, outperforming models that were previously considered the gold standard in this area.
That's pretty impressive. So it's a real all-rounder. It's selling in both specialized tasks like code retrieval and more general language understanding. We've talked a lot about ModernBERT's speed and accuracy, but does all this power come at a cost? Is it a resource hog?
That's what's so remarkable about ModernBERT. It's not just powerful and accurate, it's also incredibly efficient. The researchers designed it with practicality in mind, ensuring it can run smoothly on commonly available GPUs.
Smooth. They managed to create a high-performance machine that doesn't require a supercomputer to operate. That's great news for anyone who wants to use this technology.
Exactly. It's designed to be accessible. And in terms of efficiency, ModernBERT can handle larger batch sizes than other models, meaning it can process more information at once without slowing down. It's like having a team of experts working simultaneously on a project, rather than a single person trying to do everything.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's not just faster in terms of processing speed, but it can also handle a larger workload at once.
Precisely. And when it comes to raw speed, ModernBERT is in a league of its own. In some tests, it processed long sequences almost twice as fast as its closest competitors, which is really significant when you're dealing with large amounts of data.
That's amazing. It seems like ModernBERT has ticked all the boxes. Faster, more accurate, more efficient, and more versatile. It almost sounds too good to be true. It really does sound like ModernBERT is a major leap forward. But all this talk about benchmarks and technical specs, it's got me wondering, what does this actually mean for people like me who aren't AI researchers? How will ModernBERT change things in the real world?
That's the most exciting part. ModernBERT's impact has the potential to be incredibly far-reaching. Think about search engines, for example. With ModernBERT powering the search, you could get even more relevant results, because it understands the nuances of your queries better than ever before.
That would definitely make my life easier. What other areas could see a big impact?
Imagine code assistants that are so intuitive and helpful that they almost feel like pair programming with a super intelligent AI. That could significantly boost programmer productivity and maybe even make coding more accessible to people who are just starting out.
Now that would be a game changer. And given how well ModernBERT handles scientific literature, I'm curious about its potential in research. Could it be used to accelerate discoveries in fields like medicine or climate science?
Absolutely. Think about researchers sifting through mountains of papers and data, trying to find the most relevant studies, or identify promising new avenues for investigation. ModernBERT could help them do that much faster and more efficiently, potentially even uncovering hidden connections that human researchers might miss. It could be a powerful tool for accelerating scientific progress.
This is all incredibly exciting. But let's shift gears a bit. We've been talking big picture. What about for those who want to get hands-on with ModernBERT?
The great thing is that ModernBERT is open source, meaning anyone can access it and experiment with it. Whether you're a developer, a researcher, or just someone with a curious mind, you can explore this technology and see what you can do with it.
It's not locked away in some tech giant's lab. Anyone can tinker with it,
Yep.
learn from it, and maybe even build something amazing with it.
Exactly. There are pre-trained models available, and the researchers have even released their training code, which makes it much easier for others to build upon their work. This kind of open collaboration is essential for moving the field of AI forward.
It really does feel like ModernBERT is democratizing access to cutting-edge AI, giving individuals and smaller organizations the power to innovate alongside the big players.
I agree. It's an exciting time to be working in this field. Who knows what amazing applications and discoveries will emerge? As more people get their hands on ModernBERT and start pushing its boundaries, it's like a spark that could ignite a whole wave of innovation.
As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of ModernBERT, I'm left with a sense of wonder and excitement. It's incredible to see how far encoder-only models have come, and the potential they hold for shaping the future.
I couldn't agree more. It's a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the amazing things that can happen when brilliant minds come together to solve complex problems.
And that's what makes this field so fascinating to follow. There's always something new to learn, some new breakthrough on the horizon. We'll be keeping our eyes peeled for those new developments. And we'll be sure to share them with you on our next deep dive. Until then, keep those brains buzzing.